Hello, I'm Judy Belmont, and I'm the author of the Tips and Tools for the Therapeutic Toolbox series. I wrote these books in response to the clinician's need for practical, hands-on life skills education to impart to your client. So much of our role as therapists is not just to listen, it's just not to talk, it's just not to support, it's to educate. And I offer the tools to help you do this. After all, our clients come into treatment often not having the basic life skills to solve their problems and improve their lives. And they are looking to us to help them provide solutions for common problems that they have, such as how to improve communication, how to handle their stress, how to manage their anger, cope with adversity, heal from loss, deal with depression and anxiety, how to think more positively, and how to combat irrational thoughts. The many psychoeducational tips are based on current psychological theories, including CBT and DBT, and distilled to teach your clients in very accessible ways. They include reproducible handouts, worksheets, activities you can do with individuals, couples, and groups. I have demonstrations, I have visualizations, I have mindfulness exercises, and many other creative ways to help your clients get unstuck. I make these tips extremely user-friendly for clinicians. Each tip is broken down into 3 parts. T stands for theory, the rationale for the certain tip. I for implementation, which is the directions of how to implement the activity. And P is for processing, which is how to process and review the takeaways with your clients. For example, it's one thing to talk to your clients about the importance of communicating effectively, but it's another thing to involve them, to show them, to have structured activities, to have reproducible handouts and worksheets, so that they can develop the skills on their own in between sessions, so that they can practice, and so that you can use the learning between sessions through help of these structured activities and within session so that they can really make major life changes. For example, I have role plays, checklists, and reproducible handouts and worksheets to help you and your client practice assertive skills, and they can apply these skills directly and immediately in their lives. Another example of a tip, and I actually have variations of these in my 3 different books, is the metaphorical toolkit. I use visualizations and metaphors to represent important psychological concepts I want my client to remember. So for instance, in this toolkit that my client made up for me, I have this rubber band, and this reminds people of stress. If you stretch it too much, you're going to snap. If you don't have enough stress in your life, you don't have enough commitment and engagement, you're going to be limp. So stress is not bad or good. It's really the balance of stress, that you have enough stress in your life that you feel involved and committed, but not too much that you're going to feel like you're going to have a nervous breakdown, but not too little that you're not going to feel engaged. Another example in this metaphorical toolkit is the timer. I encourage my clients to schedule a worry time or give them 3 minutes to focus on their negative, irrational thoughts, and then once that 3 minutes is up, to try to move on with their day. Another metaphor in here is the eraser that she liked, and this represents the importance of realizing that mistakes are okay, and that's what erasers are for. So it helps remind her not to be so perfectionistic. Another example of the type of exercise I have in the books is this one, which encourages flexible thinking and encouraging people to see that their point of view is not always the right one or the only one, and sometimes we have to shift our perspective slightly to look at things in a different way. Because so often our stress, our depression, or anxiety is really based on our perceptions, not the reality on the outside. So this exercise shows this in a very easy way. If you clasp your fingers like this and try to do this at home, what thumb is on top? I have my left thumb on top. And usually in a group, it's about 60-40, 50-50, regardless of what, if you're right-handed or if you're left-handed. Now, shift your fingers so slightly so that the other thumb is on top. How does it feel? Most people will say it feels awkward, it feels strange. For some people, it feels very normal, but for you, it doesn't. That's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. Sometimes we need to think flexibly. Another example of a tip that another client made for me is coping cards. Coping cards are used in dialectic behavior therapy. They're used in cognitive behavior therapy. And what they do is they help people cope in times of distress. And they serve as reminders, whether it's affirmations or more rational thoughts to replace the rational ones, or maybe this is a reminder of what to do when they're upset. So for instance, my client wrote on one side, "I am worthless." And on the other side of her coping card, she put, "My worth is just as important as everyone else, and I am working to love and respect myself." Another one of her irrational thoughts, "I should be able to handle life without meds." And her response to that is, "Taking medication doesn't make me weak or defective. I am taking responsibility for getting better." So I invite you to check out my books. 86 Tips gives you individual as well as group activities. The 103 group activities and tips is mostly for group activities, but there's a lot of worksheets and handouts that also are very appropriate with individuals. And my latest book is 127 More Amazing Tips and Tools for the Therapeutic Toolbox. And here I have also incorporated the third wave of psychological thought, such as dialectic behavior therapy and also positive psychology. It has individual as well as group activities. I also invite you to check out my webinars that I have done for PESI, and you can get continuing education credit for them. There's tips and tools for the depression toolbox, tips and tools for the anxiety toolbox, and tips and tools for the stress management and emotional regulation toolbox. Thank you for your interest in the Tips and Tools for the Therapeutic Toolbox series. These 3 books give you a huge variety of resources to help your clients help themselves. Thank you.